Also one of the candidates vying to be the next chairman of the Democratic National Committee. And I'm joined now by another DNC chair contender, Jehmu Greene, the former president of Rock the Vote. And also back with us, Linda Sarsour, and joining from D.C., political strategist Jamal Simmons and Jessica Bird. Thank you all for being here. Jehmu, I'm going to come to you first for a couple of questions. So you've had, obviously, Keith Ellison, of course, had to respond as a first Muslim member of Congress, but also a Democrat. Let me give you a few of the other responses that Democrats have done, and you grade them for me. So Hillary Clinton tweeted, "I stand with the people gathered across the country tonight." She's not a candidate for DNC, but she is, of course, a Democrat for defending our Constitution. Here's Elizabeth Warren also responding to the ban. Take a listen to Elizabeth Warren.
Well, there was court challenge against what Donald Trump has done. It is illegal, unconstitutional, and it will be overturned. What he has done chips away at the very foundation of our democracy, and people will be heard on this.
You've also had Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe say this is bad for the United States of America, saying he's also concerned about the national security implications of what's being sent, called the tactics discriminatory and based on hatred. Are Democrats being strong enough, in your view, on the question of this Muslim ban?
Look, I think it's great that you've got these politicians out there making these statements and being very clear. We share the same values as the protesters who are out there and the passion that they are bringing to this. But as a candidate for DNC chair, I think there's a role that everyone has to play here, and absolutely the ACLU did that. What the Democrats need to do, we need to be there at those airports with food, with voter registration forms, with information about how you can take that energy and run for office. When I got to JFK last night, I met these two women, one of them a doctor who was thinking about maybe I should run for office. I connected her to Vote Run Lead. I gave her resources for this is how you start down that path. And I think too often it's about the photo op. So yes, Hillary Clinton tweet because people are yearning for your voice. And yes, get our elected officials out there in front of the camera. But as a party, we need to do the job of organizing and tapping into that energy that we're seeing all over this country and showing Democrats are there with you.
And Jimmy, you know, I cannot say this enough. I mean, I don't know about you, but, you know, whatever sort of fever dream or nightmare we had about what a Donald presidency could be like, this is faster, more intense than I think anyone anticipated. And it's also clear that Republicans are not going to stop him, that they are not going to say anything, that they're not going to stand up to him, that really the only hope now is divided government. Are Democrats prepared to take back any branch of the United States government to at least provide a balance on Donald Trump?
I don't think we're prepared at this moment. I think there are some real tough questions that we need to answer as a party and some really specific changes that we need to make. And certainly this leadership race is the opportunity to do that. I'm a little concerned that we're still a little bit too much into our comfort zone, and our state party leaders and our activists on the ground, they're used to business as usual. This is an unconventional, unprecedented time, and we have got to rise to this moment. And so that's what I'm looking for the party to say. What can we do differently? Not just business as usual. This is not about politics. This is about organizing and reconnecting, re-engaging with communities that just don't respect us.
And you came from Rock the Vote, which of course specialized, and you were Rock the Vote when Rock the Vote was Rock the Vote, right? You know, specialized in really activating younger people, you know, younger voters and getting them engaged. This feels like Black Lives Matter, like Occupy, sort of set the stage for activism to be sort of extant, for people to do it now. Is there a way to transfer that energy into actual politics and to get those young voters, those young activists who are in the streets into the voting booth or running for office?
Absolutely, and it starts with being authentic. It starts with actually communicating in ways that I think the party does not understand. We can't only communicate through our elected officials. That is old school. We can't only communicate about an election season or what the candidate is that we want them to be supporting. We have to be talking about these issues on the ground so they see us, that we are visible, and not look at this as photo ops, not look at this as just pushing the policy aspect of it. If they see that we're delivering something, even if it's just pizza and granola bars. The folks who were out there last night, I went to a store and was just like, I'm a Democrat and said, I'm going to try to feed you. We have got to feed the of all of the people who are out there energized, and this moment, we may not get this moment again because people are now finding other ways of taking daily actions after the march. If we are not one of those actions, we may lose them.
And Jamal, you know, did the Democrats err in waiting so long? Democrats are leaderless right now. There is no single leader of the party. Is it a mistake to wait until March to have a leader of the party in place?
Well, you've got to run through the process. I think what I don't want to see happen is for Democrats to make a bunch of choices super fast and then find out that we made some bad decisions and then we end up not being able to undo them or have a long time to take it out. So take a little bit of time in the beginning. Listen, Donald Trump is going to be president for 4 years. He has shown that he is up to no good, and it's going to happen for a long time. There are going to be a bunch of opportunities for us to really fight this fight with him. And I got to tell you, I am particularly unnerved by the fact that we had a hope crowd that got, elected, when Barack Obama came in, and it's turning into a hate mob that's in the White House right now. And what they are doing is really undermining everything that the majority of people in this country believe in. So what we have now is a minority government, a minority part of the country that is taking over in a hostile fashion the entire United States government.
And Jessica, then what should people who are in that majority do? Because right now there is no titular head of the Democratic Party, not really. Barack Obama has gone back to his private life. Some advice from you, please.
Well, look, the people's movement in the street is really a way to shine the light on the leaders who deserve our votes. And from what I can tell from being at protests and, from watching people get organized, is that we're really watching who's voting for Trump nominees. We're watching who's at the airport right now. As Jehmu said, we're watching who's bringing us granola bars. I've had the honor of leading the Democracy in Color campaign for the last year, which is a call to action to the Democratic Party to hire culturally competent leaders and to engage voters of color in a meaningful way. Now is the time to turn to our Democratic base, engage us in this conversation, not only in the short term to protect our families, but to say that we are about winning and creating an inclusive party as we move towards 2018.
And Linda, the Muslim community is a tiny voting bloc. We're not talking about, 20% of the United States. It's less than 1%, I believe, of the country. Is there enough power in not only the Muslim community, but in the Muslim community and its allies, as we now see that are numerous, to force the Democrats to fight in the way that you would want to see them fight?
Absolutely. I mean, we already won the majority vote during this election, and people keep forgetting that. And I'm telling the Democratic Party, as someone who considers herself to be a lowercase d, that in order for them to win back people like me, because I am very disgruntled with the Democratic Party and the way that they have operated, is that put up a black woman as the DNC chair, put up a black Muslim as the DNC chair. This is the kind of leadership of diversity that we need in this country right now. And for Democrats, we are watching and we're taking names, watching the appointments. And I was just the national co-chair for the Women's March on Washington, which you will hear much more of us in the coming weeks. We found millions of people that went into the streets, and we are committed to organizing those people to the polls. People are fired up. People understand that we made a huge mistake, and those that stayed home understand the gravity of what happened for staying home during this election. And we're ready to organize and mobilize, and we will go to the polls. So 2018 is where I'm going to survive for the next 2 years. It's about survival mode. How do we survive till 2018? And when 2018 comes, we're going to Tea Party them like they Tea Partied us in 2010.
And I'm going to give you the last word on this, Jehmu. Put a black woman at the head of the DNC is what Linda just said. Why?
Well, every party has to have a base to build from and a base to land when you fall on. And that is women of color for the party. I think there's been an overcompensation and just black women, women of color in general, have not been a part of the conversation when it comes to assessing the 2016 races, and that is piss poor pathetic. We cannot turn our back on or silence the base, the bedrock of who we are as a party. So, of course, as the only black woman in the race, only woman, I would say that, but also this isn't about one person at the head of the party, because the millennial generation doesn't operate like that. They're not looking for one person to look to, and I don't think that the other candidates in this race understand that. We need to have a coalition of leadership. We need to have an army of messengers and democratize our own party and our own leadership, and that is what gets millennials.
I'm going to give Jessica the last word because she's coming back in the next block. Jessica, is there a strong case now to be made that there should be a woman of color or a Muslim or somebody who is not a white male at the head of the DNC?
Absolutely. You know, the explosive population growth of the last 50 years has shown us that Democrats can win if we turn to our base. Our base is made up of people of color and the very people who the Trump administration is fighting. What a way to show what we're ready for in 2018 and in 2020 when we fight again for the White House, by hiring a culturally competent leader at the top of the DNC and actually at all of our Democratic committees who can specifically speak to our families and demonstrate that we deserve our rightful place at the table.